Here we go, episode 150 of The Hardline. Michael Merlo, John Michael Masiri here with you. JM, I can't believe 150 of these. And you know what's funny? I was going through some old clips this morning on our social media accounts. Very interesting to see the growth of us.
Yes, Mike.
Throughout these last 150
I agree.
episodes.
It's been quite the journey. I do see here on the notes for today's show, you have it marked as episode 149. So, I'm all screwed up now. I'm not in the 150 spirit. You had me thinking it was 149, but it is 150, and it's,
you know what?
That's a big milestone.
I'll put some nice little emojis here if I can for us.
You go.
If I could find out how to do that on
and
our Google Doc.
I think 150 episodes should be a very celebratory thing, and here we are after your football team was massacred in a international scale, and mine was. We could talk about that later.
We are going to talk about both of our football teams because you know what? We try and stay away from our teams, especially when they're like really, really just irrelevant and bad.
Yeah.
But they're at the point where we kind of have to address it. It's almost embarrassing not to.
Especially the Jets. Because the Giants, like, there were less expectations, and it's like, okay, well, their season's been over a little bit. Like, the Jets, like, was officially over on Sunday.
We're going to talk.
Season's over.
We're going to talk a lot about the Jets and the Giants coming up in a little bit. Before we get started, though, I would just like to remind everybody, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you can rate us, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, if that's where you listen, we really appreciate that much. Leave us the feedback. We love it. I'm dealing with the headache today. This is my Jordan flu game. I'm going to get through this. I think the aspirin's finally kicking in right now.
There you go.
But this will be a fun episode because we're going to start with, and we haven't really done this since we started the new format, but just talk about quick our favorite games, specifically from the 1 o'clock window yesterday, because that was one of the best 1 o'clock windows, if not the best 1 o'clock window of the entire season yesterday.
Yeah, there's been some really, really good 1 o'clock windows. About week 8, there was a really, really good one. But week 10, I mean, out of all of them, is definitely up there when it comes to 1 o'clock windows on the season. The game I picked, 49ers-Bucks, I thought was a very, very good game. I watched Red Zone just like I'm sure everybody else did at 1 o'clock in the New York area. Saw a lot of that game on it. Saw a lot of Bills-Colts. Saw a pretty decent amount I'm sorry. I was going to mention the Chargers Titans. That was 425.
Yeah.
This game, Mike, there was a lot of stuff going on. You got Baker Mayfield stiff-arming Nick Bosa. You got Deebo Samuel smacking his long snapper in the face and catching Jake Moody in the process. You got Jake Moody kicking every other field goal through the uprights. I personally thought in a game that was very key for both teams who were hovering around 500 in CMC's return, I personally thought that was my favorite game of the weekend.
It was a good game. I was shocked with how the Bucs, and I guess this is just going to be a common theme here for the rest of the season, but I'm genuinely shocked, especially last week, with how the Bucs competed. This is a team, because I had the Niners every which way you could have had them on Sunday, and they didn't ultimately cover the spread. They were my 3-star, and they didn't cover the spread. I thought this team banged up. We know how injury prone they've been this season. And also, they played on Monday Night Football. They went to overtime in crappy weather against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I really thought this was a blowout spot for the 49ers. And they're in this game till the very, very end, had a chance to win it. So, very impressed with what the Bucs did yesterday.
Well, especially when you consider the health of the Bucs and the health of the 49ers. The 49ers are finally now starting to get healthy.
Yep.
The Bucs are still missing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That offense, the fact that they put up the performance that they did while Baker Mayfield was terrible in the game overall, only threw for 116 passing yards and 1 touchdown. They had a pretty decent game on the ground. Bucky Irving had 73 yards and a touchdown. Rashad White caught a touchdown from Baker. So the backs are doing their thing. Cade Otton has been a nice little story.
Really been a nice addition for them.
For the Bucs. He's really been stepping up with their receivers being out. But the story of the day to me, besides Deebo Samuel smacking Jake Moody and the long snapper in the face,
yeah, sure,
is the way Brock Purdy played. 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interception.
I've never seen a more controversial topic like Purdy was last season.
Yeah.
To now, basically, there's no conversation about what Purdy has done. And I'm a Purdy defender. He did not look good, through the first 8 weeks of this year.
No.
He really didn't. And he had up and down games. Yes, they've dealt with a lot of injury. He hasn't had his guy CMC, and we know that is correlated to a lot of success for him since he's taken over as the starter. But still, there was really no conversations whatsoever about the way Purdy played. He was excellent on Sunday against the Bucs, and he showed you this is the guy that took this team to the Super Bowl. And we're going to talk about them right now, actually, when we talk about teams that could possibly take down, I think we both agree, the best team in the NFC, the Detroit Lions. They're definitely a team that we're going to discuss.
Yeah, 100%. Brandon Ayuk is out, obviously. Should they have just given that money to Jawan Jennings? Because it seems that Brock Purdy likes Jawan Jennings more than he likes Brandon Ayuk. And every single time that a receiver goes down, Jawan Jennings seems to step up. He had 93 yards on 7 catches. Ricky Pearsall with the big 46-yard touchdown, kind of his welcome to the NFL moment in a good way. I'm ready to just throw a question at you right off the rip.
You do it.
Right now. We always talk about how loaded this 49ers offense is and the weapons, and obviously everybody makes the argument, we don't, that Brock Purdy is carried by his weapons and everything. And I think Brock Purdy is the most important piece of this offense, regardless. But out of the Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, and Kittle camp, which individual player is most important to the 49ers' success?
So McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle,
Brandon
Ayuk. Let's throw Jawan for respect in there.
Jawan, yeah, sure. Throw his hat in the ring.
I tell you, McCaffrey, I think, is 1.
Okay.
And I think 2, you might be shocked. I think it's Kittle. I mean, when Kittle's played his best football in a few years this season. And when he's on, this offense is rolling. And there's a reason why they were kind of able to tread water while McCaffrey was gone. And and when Ayuk went down, and that was because of the level George Kittle was playing at.
You might be surprised. I think Kittle's 1.
Wow.
I think Kittle is the most important piece on this offense because he does so many different things, just like McCaffrey. McCaffrey does so many different things as well. But when it comes down to it, George Kittle, with the offensive style that this team runs under Kyle Shanahan, a lot of stretch, a lot of stuff where they're running to the outside, they're pulling their tackles, they're doing creative things. George Kittle literally serves as an extra offensive tackle. Like, he is such a phenomenal blocker for a tight end, and the way he's able to seal the edge sometimes on these run plays, and then he could go out and catch a 10-yard pass and turn it into 30, and he could go in the end zone in a red zone situation. You could throw him a jump ball, and he could go get it. Like, I really do think that he's the most important piece on this offense.
It's not a bad point. Again, when you have that tight end like that could be so dominant.
Yeah.
And he is so dominant in the pass game when he's healthy. The biggest thing has been, is he going to be healthy?
Yeah.
And he looks pretty healthy this season.
He looks very healthy, yeah.
It is truly remarkable to watch. He is. I mean, again, he's had those seasons where I kind of felt like, oh, he's a little overrated. Like, he's never healthy. Yeah, he could block, but, just not doing much. Now with Purdy, I mean, it's like his favorite target. And Debo's important. We get that. We understand that. But, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
I mean, you want to talk about health, though. It seems like Debo just has not been on the field for more than 10 games in, years.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm trying to remember the last time he was fully healthy. What was it, 2021, when he had that, almost offensive player of the year style season where he was playing running back and he caught 1,400 yards. And he was incredible, and he is incredible, but, he just can't stay on the field either.
That's a team that, oh, my God, I'm actually – we're about to talk about teams that can contend with the Lions and take out the Lions. That's where we're going, and the Niners are certainly that team, and we're going to continue to talk about them. But I was clicking on the box score from the Eagle-Cowboy game yesterday, and I did not – and I watched, a decent amount of the game, and I did not Cooper Rush had 45 yards passing yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Are you kidding me?
Trey Lance made an appearance.
He had 21 yards.
Yeah,
Trey
but they're
looked good.
sticking with Cooper Rush.
Okay.
Things are as bad as they can be in Dallas right now.
Well, we'll mention them in a little bit. I think this Philadelphia team, as we're going to move into this NFC topic, because you know what, a team should not throw 5 interceptions, JM, and still win a ball game.
No.
I don't know if this is an indictment on the Texans, or is this just such an impressive win by a great roster and a very well coached team in the Detroit Lions? I can't really give you the answer right now. 24 hours out, I can't.
Are we? We're allowed to talk about this now. We're segueing into this right now.
Yeah, we're going to this right
now.
now.
All right. So, because I was about to go in depth.
Yeah.
I think it's both. I think when you play a really, really good football team, you know that you can't even give them a sliver of hope because they could get right back into the game. And that's what the Lions are. The Lions are a very, very, very good football team. And the Texans didn't, I don't want to say they didn't keep their foot on the gas because I think they were trying to win the game still, but they lost control of the car a little bit. And once you lose control, the Lions are going to come storming right back, and that's exactly what they did. That being said, the defense for the Texans really played phenomenal. You intercepted Jared Goff 5 times. You did what you had to do without Will Anderson. And it didn't seem to matter because the Texans' offense was so putrid. Their offensive line, once again, proves to be worrisome. Joe Mixon could not do anything on the ground yesterday. What do you have, 20-plus carries and under 50 yards or something?
25 attempts, 46 yards.
That's absolutely ridiculous. 1.8 yards per carry. He couldn't do anything. They were trying to run it up the middle. They were trying to do tosses. They were trying everything that they could do. And nothing seemed to work. And CJ Stroud, I'm going to say it, I think we crowned the guy a little too early. He's a very talented quarterback. He's a guy that the Texans should give an extension to. They should know that he's going to be their franchise guy. All that being said, let's stop acting like the guy's already an elite quarterback. Can we give him a little bit of time to maybe show us that?
The foundation has crumbled here a little bit for him. And it wasn't great last season, and they played, a cupcake schedule, a last place schedule in his rookie year. And again, not taking anything away from that year. It was one of the, if not the greatest rookie season we've ever seen from a quarterback.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, I mean, you really nailed it on the head in the beginning of the year. You really did. And I sort of agreed with you. I did not pick them to win the division. Now, we're both not going to be right about that take.
Because everybody else sucks in the division.
Because the division just is so bad. So they're going to be in the postseason. But this is a team, like I mentioned a couple of weeks back, that I just think is, lesser than the other group of teams in the AFC.
They are.
And I don't even want to blame CJ because we do see the great qualities that he has. I just think there's too many injuries at the moment for him to sustain this. He doesn't have his top receivers.
No.
He doesn't have a lot of his offensive linemen. So there's really nothing that I think he could do. Right. And yet the numbers don't look too bad. I mean, he was bad yesterday. He's got to hit down the end zone on that.
Yeah, that was awful for him to just float that up there, and Carlton Davis comes over and picks it off. This Texans team is a team that was picking second overall for a reason 2 years ago. And then CJ Stroud comes in last year, has an amazing rookie year, and they end up winning the division, making the playoffs, winning a playoff game, and then ultimately losing to the Ravens. And you're like, wow, okay, this offseason they're making some other big moves, they're adding some guys, and you think this team's going to take the next step. But one thing we don't take into consideration is success is very hard to maintain in the NFL year after year. Sometimes you overachieve, sometimes you underachieve. So for us to just think, okay, let's ignore all the roster problems this team has, doesn't matter. They won the division last year. They have this young, sexy quarterback with the wide receivers and this and that. Hell yeah, or they're adding pieces. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender. It's not always how it works. Like you said, I don't think the foundation was properly set yet. And a lot of people jumped the gun on this team too early.
incredible that they're able to win this game still, Detroit. I think it's
Absolutely
a testament to
ridiculous.
the coaching staff sticking with it. They really went heavy to the run game later in this game because they just couldn't trust Goff. Goff just didn't have it last night. I mean, he looked like the guy that the Rams had given up on and the Lions had thought was just going to be a transitional piece.
Right.
He did look like that guy last night. The running game's able to carry them. Gibbs had a nice night, and they're able to win this game. They're 8-1. They're the class of the NFC.
They totally are.
Mike, you're going to be shocked that I'm saying this, considering I counted this team out. I picked this team to win the NFC. I counted them out, and now I'm fully back. I think the Eagles can beat them. I think the Eagles have enough to take out the Lions. I can't believe I'm saying this.
That is very surprising that you are saying that.
It's very surprising that I am, and the reason why is the quarterback finally looks like the MVP guy we saw from 2 years back. The same guy that we saw at the beginning of 2023, where he did look like that elite player. They feel like they're back here, and they're scary. If they're going to play like this, if the running attack's going to look like this, if Hurts is going to have, complete 70% of his passes and have a 103.4 passer rating, by the way, a passer rating better than the MVP season that he should have won if he didn't get hurt, this team is scary.
Even with the bozo head coach?
Even with listen, they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
But you're saying they're going to get to the Super Bowl.
I'm saying
if they're beating the Lions, they're probably going to the Super Bowl.
This team can beat the Lions.
They can beat the Lions.
This team is good enough to beat the Lions.
So they can get to the Super Bowl. But they can't win it.
You know what?
They can win the Super Bowl.
Again,
I don't know where. I'm confused. Where are they ending up?
I don't know where we're going to end up. But let's say this. Let's compare the two head coaches. Because remember, we had talked about
it's not even close.
At length, though, how the decision-making from Dan Campbell last season essentially costed his team a chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is it not the same situation?
No, it's not at all.
You don't think it is?
It is not at all. Dan Campbell is coaching a team who are the New York Jets. This is a team that has a history of losing, fans that thought they were going to go their entire lives without seeing them come even close to a Super Bowl. They've already been close to a Super Bowl. He's completely flipped that culture. It says a lot when you watch Jared Goff after throwing 5 interceptions. They win the game. They cut to Dan Campbell, and before he's even walking out to shake hands with DeMeco Ryans, Jared Goff comes over to him and gives him a hug, congratulating him on the win. Like, those players do whatever they can to win the game for the head coach, the culture he's built there. And I understand there's maybe some people that are listening to that and rolling their eyes because it gets beat to a pulp, and you hear it over and over again. It becomes a cliche of, oh, culture this, culture that. But it does exist. I mean, everybody here can relate to it in some way. You're whoever's the top person in your household sets the culture. Whoever's your boss sets the culture. Your professor sets the culture. Whatever situation you're in, the authoritative figure needs to set a culture of respect, of motivation, of whatever, and Dan Campbell does that.
So there have been stories, right, that we've read about the Eagles' culture and about, the relationship between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And we know, I think we could kind of tell that it was definitely, it's not a good one.
No.
They don't love each other, okay? I'm not talking about culture, though, here, and I know that's a big part of it. When we talk about Sirianni losing the Eagles' ball games, it's because of the decision-making of, is he going to go for it or not? Is he going to, go for 2, leaving points on the board? That's the decision-making with Nick Sirianni that we're talking about, them losing games. Yeah. Dan Campbell is just as aggressive, if not more aggressive at times. I think he's held back. Now, we haven't seen them in really close games lately.
Right. And that's kind of what I was going to say is I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Also, they really they've only had one playoff run under Dan Campbell. I'd say pump the brakes a little bit. We haven't seen a big enough sample size. The inexperience last year of Dan Campbell in that scenario.
But that wasn't anything changed from what we had seen throughout the season. He was the same
but maybe,
Dan Campbell.
Right. We remember the whole Dan Skipper reporting eligible situation in Dallas. They got the penalty. They still went for 2 from the 7-yard line, didn't get it. Then obviously we're referring to the 49ers game where he passed up multiple field goals to go for it. Totally agree that those were not the right decision. And, we could obviously play Monday morning quarterback and criticize those decisions because it didn't end up in the right result. But I'm saying small sample size. It was also his first time around. Maybe this time around he'll be like, okay, listen, maybe I should pump the brakes a little bit. I'm giving him another chance to sit here and say and put him in Nick Sirianni territory because I just think overall he's a better head coach than Nick Sirianni is anyways.
Okay. That's fair.
I want to talk about your Eagles take.
Yeah.
You got to pump the brakes because why are we not referring to the elephant in the room here that they have played the Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, and Cowboys the last 5 weeks? Like, this is a cakewalk schedule. The Lions are coming out here, primetime games, on the road against the Packers, a division rival, bad weather. They're doing whatever, and they're winning football games. Like,
the Eagles
are playing a cakewalk schedule the last 5 weeks.
The Eagles are playing bully ball. Okay, the Eagles are running it down your throat.
You barely held on to a lead against the Jaguars at home, and then you go into Dallas, who's already been awful, and they lose Dak Prescott. You beat Cooper Rush, whoop-de-doo. Like,
oh, yeah, I mean, listen, the win on Sunday in Week 10 is not very impressive.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, why are we coming on here? Oh, yeah, Eagles are officially back. I still see problems with this team.
Their defense.
The Lions are in a class of their own.
Their defense is playing well, very well, throughout the entire season. And again, they're playing a brand of football that they're just going to be able to beat up on anybody. Now, we'll see this week, Thursday night. I can't wait. We're going to talk about a couple of the big games coming up in Week 11 later on in the show. I'm pumped for that game. I'm pumped for that Thursday night football game because I think it's going to expose the Commanders as frauds. They are not a team that I would trust to even come close to the Lions. If the game was played on a neutral site, I would have the Lions as 7.5-point favorites against that team.
Well, yeah, I think the Commanders are one of those teams where they can get away with certain things against certain teams, but then once you get up to the elite teams, they're just going to beat you because they're better in the trenches.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. But Mike, I think you're being super overreactive today.
You think so?
Super
I love when
overreactive.
I'm super overreactive.
Like, oh my goodness.
You know what I thought we were coming into today?
What?
I thought like the number one take I was going to have was the Niners are going to win the NFC. Like, that's what I thought today was going to be. And the Niners didn't do the job. I can't sell that yet.
No,
I'll sell it maybe next week.
I would still definitely say the Lions are going to win the NFC. I mean, at a certain point in that game yesterday, I was thinking, are we seeing, the Achilles heel to this team? Which I didn't know what it was. I guess Jared Goff.
Yeah.
But they were still able to pull it out. And it's so weird. Like, I just feel like the NFL gets weirder every year. Something we kind of skipped over it. We didn't ask you your favorite 1 p.m. game, and I honestly didn't. I left it out because I thought you were going to pick it.
Yeah.
But Commanders-Steelers yesterday, like, is that more about, okay, wow, the Steelers are for real, or is it, pump the brakes on the Steelers, maybe the Commanders are frauds? Like, I don't know what to think anymore after these games.
Yeah, it's a mix of both.
Nobody, that's why I just think the Lions are the only team that's like a stronghold. They're a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the NFC.
I think you could say that about the 3 teams in the AFC, too.
But I don't know if you could say that about anybody else in the NFC right now. I still think even the Eagles, I don't think you could say that about the Eagles.
I think the Eagles have enough talent to say they could
win against Washington Thursday night and don't just win. And I'm not asking you to blow them out. I'm saying win while looking like a polished football team.
Look at me defending the Eagles and you needing more. To see more.
I do need to see more, especially out of Hurts.
He's playing well.
He's playing well against crap competition. And I get it's the NFL any given Sunday. We say it all the time on this show, but they're still playing crap teams.
Yeah.
Also, earlier in the year, you're a little bit more susceptible to upsets because people are still trying to figure out what they are. We're in Week 10 now, going into Week 11. Like, you shouldn't be losing to the Jaguars or the Cowboys, and they didn't. But I gotta see more.
We're gonna see right now. Commanders, Rams, Ravens.
There you go.
That's the next 3.
There you go.
Then a mini bye with the Panthers, and then the Steelers.
There you go.
We'll see what happens.
What are they right now? They're 7-2.
They're 7-2.
Okay, if they're 9-3 going into Carolina, I'll be sitting here saying Eagles are Super Bowl contenders.
You'll say I'm right.
Yep.
All right, so I'll get an I'm right in 3 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
All right, but hear me out. If they beat Washington and LA and then they stink it up against the Ravens, I'm not going to say that.
It's 2 weeks.
Sure, whatever.
Let's go.
We'll see.
No, I mean if they get killed by the Ravens, I think the Ravens. We could talk about this now. We are going to move on to the AFC playoff picture, and I do want to talk more about the wild card teams, but they might end up being a wild card team. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting their position because I don't know what to think of them. And did I text you this question? I don't know who I texted this question to, but I'm going to ask you this question right now on the spot. Okay, The Lions and the Ravens play a neutral site game. What do you think the spread is?
What do I think the spread is?
Yeah.
So
I don't know the answer.
All right.
I know my answer.
Can I ask this question before I answer yours?
Yeah.
Is this like how I would set the spread, or what do I think Vegas would put the spread at?
I'm asking you what you think the spread should be.
Okay. I think the spread should be.
We're gonna have We're gonna
neutral
have
site.
We're gonna have very different answers.
Ravens, Lions, neutral site. Oh, this is a really tough question. I would say I'd put the Ravens at -1.5.
All right, so we have the same answer. I thought you were gonna go Lions.
No.
Everybody I asked said the Lions
listen,
-1.5.
And I totally get that. And I was thinking Lions, and I'm like, I've been so pro Lions the entire season because they just look so amazing. But at the end of the day, like, the Ravens are playing great football. They're 7-3. They've gone through every test imaginable over the past couple of years. They've played Kansas City a bunch. No, they haven't. Although they almost beat them week 1. Obviously, we know about Isaiah Likely having one shoe size too big.
Big toe.
But they also have the best player in the NFL right now.
They do. And you know what they also are? They're 7-1 in their last 8 games.
Yep.
I think, like, if I was going to power rate the AFC, right now.
Sorry, I think they have a coaching advantage as well. I just wanted to throw that in. Against the Lions.
Oh, 100%.
Ben Johnson's 100%. Great. You like I said, Dan Campbell, but just strategist-wise and who I would trust more, I'd pick the Ravens staff.
We love Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I think so. If the Chiefs and the Ravens played today, okay, this is going to sound like very contradictory, but you'll understand what I'm saying. If the Lions and the Chiefs play, if the Ravens and the Chiefs played today, I think the Chiefs would win. Okay, But if I was going to power rate the teams right now, like today, right now, the Ravens would be ahead in the AFC for me.
I totally understand what you're saying. But that makes sense.
But the Ravens wouldn't beat the Chiefs because the Chiefs just know how to play, tight games, late in games, and they have the better defense. And the Ravens defense looks like Swiss cheese right now, and they kind of got to fix that.
Yeah.
But that's my reasoning.
Right. But the funny thing with the Ravens, like, you're looking at their schedule, that win against Denver. That's nobody's really talking about that. 41-10 over a Denver team that just took Kansas City to a game that they really should have won. Yep. And Denver's been a really, really tough team throughout the season, especially the defense. The defense looked amazing. Yeah. And they scored 41 points against them. Like,
that was crazy.
They are dominant. And the Bills too. Like, those are just two convincing, crazy wins. And I didn't even obviously mention the Commanders and other wins, but I would not want to mess with the Ravens.
And how about the Bills, by the way? Big look-ahead spot. I hated the pick. You had the pick of the Bills yesterday. I hated it. Mm-hmm. And they went out there. They intercepted Flacco a couple of times and won pretty convincingly in Indianapolis.
Yeah, no, they did.
In a game that Indianapolis needed.
Yeah.
And a big look-ahead spot for Kansas City with the Kansas City game coming up the week after. The Bills go there and win convincingly. That's an impressive win for them. I really want to stay off of the top 3 teams, though. I want to talk more about the wild card teams in the AFC, and I want to start with the Chargers because the Chargers, to me, are so fascinating. Mm-hmm. I can't believe this. Listen, their schedule's been a little bit of a cakewalk. Okay, they're 6-3. But the way the transformation has literally taken, like that.
Yep.
The transformation of this franchise with Harbaugh there, like the snap of a finger, it's back. They're the number one team defense statistically in the entire league. Herbert, week after week, we talked about it last week, looked better this week. JM, they're impressive. I think they're a tough out for any team because of that defense. They obviously lack offensive weapons, but their offensive line is really good. They run the ball. They're tough. They protect Herbert. It's a team I wouldn't want to play.
Yeah, they're a team I wouldn't want to play in the first round if I had to pick a wild card team to play. I mean, I think regardless in the playoffs, you're going to play a team that you're not just like, oh, okay, easy win. Unless it's like one of those Steelers teams from the past couple of years that just snuck into the playoffs with Mason Rudolph, and it's like, okay, scratch that as a win. But you beat me to it. The schedule, I love talking about schedules tonight.
Yeah.
Schedule has been
cakewalk
galore. I mean, Saints, Browns, Titans are their last 3 games, and they've won all of them convincingly. But we're about to find out what the Chargers are really about.
Yes.
Because they got a Sunday night game against Cincinnati. Then they play on Monday night home against the Ravens. 2 home games. Really neutral site for them because they have 0 home field advantage because they have no fans. And then the week after that, they go to Atlanta. The week after that, they go to Kansas City. And the week after that, they play the Bucs at home. Then they play the Broncos at home. So those are 6 games in a row of teams that are all sitting in playoff spots, except the Buccaneers, who are supposed to be healthier by that time, who are a playoff team from last year. We're about to find out what the Chargers are really about, Mike.
I think they're going to go 3-3.
That'll get them in the playoffs.
3-3.
They'll be 9-6 heading into week 17. That's pretty good.
Beat the Bengals. They'll beat the piss out of the Falcons, and they'll beat the. They might go 4-2.
They'll beat the piss out of them.
Yeah, they'll beat the piss out of the Falcons.
Okay, that's a bold claim. By the way, if you're in the LA area, you can go to Chargers Bengals starting at the low price of $47 for a Sunday night football game, which is insane.
That's big.
And it's a very nice stadium. Kind of nuts. What is wrong? Like
disrespect.
Why put 2 teams in LA? They can't. Not even one team could get fans to come out. Now we got 2 of them.
No, LA. Good sports city though.
Off topic. Did you see? Because I'm thinking about the Chargers Steelers games over the years that have been in SoFi with all the terrible towels. You see all those terrible towels at the Washington Commanders Steelers game?
Bad job by the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Steelers are down the road. Yeah. They got a big fan base, but still, I mean, it's 4th and 1 with the.
Is it down the road?
It's DC to Pittsburgh. Ain't too bad. But I mean, they got a crucial moment in the game in the 4th quarter, and all you see is terrible towels waving. Crazy. In the lower bowl, you just see a billion terrible towels. He's putting it in his Google Maps right now. What do you got?
Washington, it is pretty close.
DC to Pittsburgh.
It's like 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours.
That's not a bad trip, but still, like to be embarrassed like that in your own stadium.
But also, I imagine there's a lot of Steelers fans that probably live in the area anyways.
Okay, that's fair. A lot of Steeler fans everywhere. There's a lot of Steeler fans here.
There are a lot of Steeler fans here. Chalk eaters. I'm sorry.
That's not nice.
I'm sorry.
That's not nice. So we have the Steelers and the Ravens. I think we both agree the Ravens are going to win the division. I mean, it's an interesting game going up this weekend. I mean, it may decide it.
Yep.
If the Steelers go 8-2 and they get the win, and now all of a sudden the Ravens are 7-4. You're a game back of them, 2 games back. They have the tiebreaker. Now things get interesting in that division. Very interesting. And the game's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And we're finally starting to see a version of the Pittsburgh Steelers where you're like, oh, okay. They're not just like, oh, Steelers are on the schedule. They're going to play a really annoying, gross football game. They're going to run the crap out of the ball, play defense, and we'll see what happens. And they're going to finish 10-7, 9-8.
I saw this really
No, they are legit.
I saw this really interesting stat about your boy Pickens. Hold on, I lost it. It was a really nerdy stat.
Well, while you're looking for that, I mean, Wilson, we didn't really take into consideration, like, it's still Russell Wilson. So if he really finds it in Pittsburgh, which it looks like he is right now, all of a sudden you're talking about a team that has a legitimate quarterback that adds a completely different scary dynamic to this offense.
26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. Like, he wasn't bad in Denver.
No.
He was not. And they were not in the race, but they kind of got themselves back into the hunt last year before they sat him because of the injury guarantee. So, if he's going to play at that level with this defense and they have some sort of running game, and they're obviously, we know how they're coached.
Yeah.
they could be a dangerous team.
Well, if you ask Sean Payton, he didn't have it, because that would be bad for Sean Payton's ego.
It's crazy how Sean Payton, on one hand, we give him. I'm going to praise the hell out of him for the job he's doing with Bo Nix, and we'll talk about them in a second as well. He's doing a great job with Bo Nix, and I understand it's an expensive, older quarterback, and I mean technically he did do a good job. Yeah. He did a good job with Russell Wilson, so I'm actually going to take that back. But obviously, just wasn't part of the plan.
No,
wasn't part of the plan.
Not part of the plan. What was your? Did you get your George Pickens stat?
No, I can't find it, but he's like at an elite level with Russell Wilson. He's playing at an elite level.
I mean, the catch he made for that touchdown, acrobatic, incredible. Crazy. He saw my clip.
What, he did?
He saw my clip making fun of him for saying always effing open.
He's always open.
Sorry, open effing always.
He's open. He's open, and now he's getting the ball.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm about to praise Russell Wilson because I feel like I've been making fun of him for the past 3 years.
He's
but
a really good player.
The ball that he throws, that touch, jump ball, go get it, the way he just leaves it that only the receiver can get it, it's a scary combination with him and Pickens.
How about your guy Mike Williams making the big play?
Mike Williams making the big play. You're hinting at my hate club. I'm gonna wait to go into. I'm gonna take a knee here.
Okay, that's fine.
That will come up in my hate club.
Good job though, Aaron. He can't play though, right, Aaron?
No,
he can't play.
No,
he's done.
No,
yeah, no, that's good.
No, but it's right in front of them, though.
Yeah,
the Jets.
I can't stand it.
Focus on the next game.
We're back. I think we're back to hating Aaron Rodgers.
I think we are.
At least me.
Which I want to just stop because I actually do really like Aaron Rodgers for his whole career. I adored him on the Packers.
Right now.
And I'm really trying not to let him ruin all of that and just think of him as this terrible Jets quarterback who I want to go off the face of the earth.
Right. 100%.
Yes,
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
The Broncos and the Bengals and the Chargers are going to play Sunday Night Football this weekend, like you mentioned, in LA, and you can go for the very low price of $47. But JM, I mean, if last week wasn't a must-win game for the Bengals, this week is literally life or death for the Cincinnati team.
Yes, quite literally. I have it written right here. I still wouldn't rule them out. They're just that team. I can't with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. The way Burrow is playing this year, he's quite literally having the best year of his career right now, Joe Burrow. And they're 4-6. I can't rule this team out until they're dead.
I want to do a deep dive on just how maybe after the year is over, right? And if they miss the playoffs, it'll fit perfectly. I'm gonna do a deep dive on how poor this franchise is, how poorly run this franchise is, because they are effectively killing their chances here with their star MVP caliber quarterback. They're killing their chances because they're cheap and they don't know how to run things in the front office, because you can't tell me T. Higgins can't suit up. This is clearly a contract thing. We had these bad vibes. You didn't believe it. I ended up believing it before the year started, that there were some issues in this locker room. I think that is carried over into this season. This is a problem. This team should not be this bad. Their defense is unbelievably terrible, and they're most likely going to – I mean, they have a chance. I mean, they really do have – they're a game out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
But if they don't make the playoffs, man, what a disaster for this organization.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor's going to be gone. He caught some criticism on the Thursday night game for going for 2 there. That was the easiest decision I've ever seen in my life. You trusted that defense to stop anything? They couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, I like the decision.
That was your best chance to win the game there. It's funny, Harbaugh's actually been on the other side, on that side of it, usually, of saying, oh, why did he go for 2? We remember that from a couple years ago when they threw to Mark Andrews and he was just short at the 1-yard line against the Steelers. This time around, Zach Taylor's the one catching the criticism, but that was the 100% right decision.
The only thing I don't love about it, and you can't really control this at times, I just wish it could be a guarantee. You're going to go for it and you're going to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's 10 seconds left on the clock and they have,
right.
Doesn't matter how many timeouts.
Right.
38 seconds, 2 timeouts. Even if they went for 2 and got it, it wasn't
still
a win.
Stop them.
So we can't say they were going for the win. You know what I mean?
They
were not going for the win. I mean,
no, but that. They were going for the lead with 30 seconds left.
You're going for the lead. You're going for the lead. You're going for the lead.
Now you're just
because
it's
not going for the win because they have so much time.
It is Captain
completely
Literal Man.
different. It's a completely different sense if there's no time on the clock, if there's 10 seconds on, even if there's 15 seconds on the clock. Like, they could have gotten into Tucker's range.
All right, we'll change it. They're going for the lead.
That's all.
We'll universally change that for you.
I just, I would have liked if it was for the win. It would have been more, what's the word I'm looking for? Climatic? Anticlimactic? No, not anticlimactic. Yeah, climatic.
Sure. Okay.
More drama.
Now you drove me nuts with this point, and I just forgot what I was going to say.
More drama. Speaking of movies and movie lingo, I found this like action rom-com I'm going to watch later, or action romantic movie I'm going to watch maybe tonight on Apple TV.
You're going to say that and like not say the name of the movie?
I think it's called Ghosted. I just renewed my Apple TV subscription to watch it.
Never heard of it. Are you adding that to your list of things you need to watch? And The Sopranos just keeps getting kicked down and down?
They're actually getting kicked down even more because I'm going to start How I Met Your Mother. And then I'm going to watch Sopranos.
Yes. I'm just letting you know. I am taking this personally now.
Yeah.
I've heard many people we know recommend How I Met Your Mother to you. And I see you accepting that
How I Met Your
The Sopranos
Mother,
as a personal attack.
How I Met Your Mother is easier to start.
It's really not.
It's easier to start.
You haven't even watched either one. Why is it easier to start?
I've watched episodes of The Sopranos. Okay, and yes, like legit.
Why? Like in random order? Like you've just seen like a random episode?
Yes, like it's on downstairs. My mom's been watching it a little bit lately, so I would just sit down and I would watch and I would ask questions because she's watched it before, and I'm into it. Like I know I want to watch this show,
but you're insane.
It feels like too much of a commitment right now. That's all.
Okay,
I got a lot going on. Finishing school
you
in a
have
couple
been
of
saying
months.
this since we started the podcast.
School's over in December. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like it's too much of a commitment right now. That's the only thing.
Okay.
But I'm going to get there. Like, I see the vision. I know why you want me to watch it. Okay. I'm going to love it.
And you think once you get out of school and get a job that you are going to have more time?
I honestly think so. Because the way school's been, it's unbelievable.
All right.
It's remarkable.
Well, that being said, should we talk about our terrible football teams, or
where are we going? Yeah, we're gonna talk about those football teams right now. Yeah. We'll skip over him before we talk about him in a little bit.
Colts Jets next week. I mean, that's going to be a battle for the 9th seed in the AFC, so we could just get past that.
That was supposed to be the Sunday night game, by the way.
Yeah, gross.
That
Absolutely
got flexed
disgusting.
JM, this is it's truly embarrassing. It's like. You're watching the clip of that Browns fan like going on that like actually emotional rant about his team. You ever seen it?
Yeah.
And he goes, it's literally like watching a different sport.
Yeah.
That's what we watch each week.
Yep.
We are not privy to what everybody else gets to watch.
Nope.
And with their teams, we just every single season we watch pitiful, putrid football. And it's disgusting.
It is totally disgusting. And the worst thing about it is we're not sitting here right now in Madison, Wisconsin, or we're not sitting here in the middle of some random town in Tennessee. Like, we are in New York, Michael. And these are teams that play in the biggest city in the world, although they play in a glorified AC unit in the middle of a swamp in New Jersey. We decide to put them there for whatever reason. God forbid we put them near New York City. No,
we'll be there in a couple weeks.
I think. Oh yeah, can't wait. The plan for that originally was, oh wow, great football game with friends, have fun. Like, no, I want to be so drunk I don't even remember that it was a game. However, what an absolute joke this is. I mean, you're totally right. You hit the nail on the head. It is like watching a completely different sport. I think a big reason of why I have such a great range of knowledge of random football players and every team around the NFL is because I've watched so much Red Zone over the past 8 years at this point, however long Red Zone's been around. I've watched so much Red Zone because the Jets have been mathematically eliminated before Thanksgiving. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The Giants are the complete same way. If you take away 2016, the Giants, and 2022, the Giants are in the same exact boat. They've been a laughing stock. It's extremely depressing, Mike, and it's absolutely ridiculous that both of these owners just don't do anything about it, whether that's bring somebody in to run the team for them or to sell the team.
Yeah, Woody's a whole other mess because I think Woody takes too much power, I think. Yeah. And he makes football decisions that he's not a football guy.
Yes.
You know, Maura's an idiot, but Maura comes from football.
Yeah.
You know, he's not that again, I don't want Maura making the decisions, but if I was gonna choose one, I would choose him.
Yeah.
You know, JM, I don't even know where to start. We'll start Jets here because they're the more pressing issue because obviously we know about the expectation. You know, like Rodgers wasn't even pressured that much yesterday. Like, were guys not open? Like, what's the issue here?
Guys aren't open. There's no the entire season. Even when the Jets' passing game is on, it's either because they're in a 2-minute drill or Rodgers threw a couple nice slot fades. Or, like everything is like they're on. You know, every play it's like pulling teeth. Nothing comes easy. There's no wide open receivers. The middle of the field is clogged up. Rodgers loves throwing outside the numbers for whatever reason because I guess he wants to keep his precious touchdown interception ratio. Okay, I gotta stop. I really don't want to hate. I don't want to hate Aaron Rodgers. I really am there though. And, you know, I'm just gonna put a quick pin in this right now because you mentioned Woody Johnson before. Jets fans, I got great news for you. Okay. So Donald Trump was elected the 47th president of the United States, we all know. Woody Johnson's going to be his ambassador again to England, which means he's not going to be running the team. However, there's two things that are really bad about this. Number one, his brother's just as much, if not more of an idiot than he is. And number two, he still is going to be involved in the obvious decision of head coach this offseason, probably GM, probably everything else. Then he's going to leave. It's going to be a disaster again. And just in the amount of time where it's like, okay, let's move on to the next phase of Jets football. That's going to be 2028 where he's flying back from England after Trump's presidency, and he's right back in the seat he is right now.
Oh,
so
what a mess.
Buckle up. I mean,
it is such a mess. It's like you're hiring somebody that's not going to work for you for 4 years.
Yeah.
Might not ever work for you.
Yep.
You might never work for them.
Yep.
Oh, my God. What a mess.
Yeah. Don't sell your 2036 season tickets, though. Hold on to those.
What if he, needs to make the head coach hiring, right? Like, let's say, this is something he has to do. Is he going to rush it and not, if he has to go December 20th, right? Whenever he's supposed to. I don't know when he's supposed to go.
Well, I mean, Trump
January
is in
20th.
Office January 20th.
That's what I meant, January 20th. So is he going to rush this? Because, a
lot
of teams aren't going to be out.
I'm trying to remember. Are you hiring coaches before the Super? Because you're firing coaches. Black Monday is the day after Week 18.
You're interviewing guys.
Yeah, you're interviewing
guys.
But are guys hired before the Super Bowl? I think they are, right?
Some of them are, but then there's candidates that are still coaching,
right?
And you
Coordinators.
can't hire them.
Yeah, like Ben Johnson.
Right, you can't
Which,
hire
by
Ben
the way,
Johnson.
Are we delusional? Yes, Jets fans are delusional.
You are delusional.
We're on Twitter. Oh, Ben Johnson's going to come save this franchise. Why in the hell would Ben Johnson look at the New York Jets and say, you know what? That's where I want to build my legacy. That's where I want to be a head coach. I'm the most sought-after head coach candidate the past 2 years, basically. I didn't leave last year. I decided to stick around with the Lions for another year. They're going to go to the freaking Super Bowl, and we think that he's going to go to the Jets. The Bengals might fire Zach Taylor this offseason. Where would I rather go? Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the team that's been to the Super Bowl in the past 3 years, or the New York Jets? Where do you think he's going to go? He's going to go there.
On this sheet, it says, why would any, formidable candidate,
respectable,
right,
somewhat
you have respect
admired
for
in their profession.
Why would you go coach the Jets?
Right.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
And so it really got me thinking last night, who would do it? What would be the scenario where you can get a decent name? And I thought of the solution. Mike Vrabel left Tennessee because Mike Vrabel was not given the power of having at least his choice at GM or not being GM. He wanted to be coach and GM. He wanted full power. And the owner did not want to do that, and he didn't agree with the owner. It's a she, her choice of GM, and so they mutually parted ways, whatever he's let go, whatever you want to say. That's why he's not in Tennessee anymore. I think
they're terrible.
Yeah. I think if you gave Vrabel that power and allowed him to hire his own GM,
nuts,
and they're partners, kind of like how Shanahan and Lynch are, I think that's a way you could get a respectable candidate.
Really? Like, can anything just be normal?
No, it can't.
Can we just get a normal general manager and a normal head coach who are both good at their jobs and don't have to worry about who's got this power and who's got that
Didn't
power?
Adam Gase hire Joe Douglas?
Yeah.
So like that.
They did that completely
marriage.
backwards.
Perfect marriage.
They hired Gase, let McCagnon draft, and then fired him and brought in Joe Douglas.
Yes. And Gase had something to do with that.
Genius.
It's a good plan, honestly. Good.
Absolute genius.
Adam Gase didn't do a bad job at that.
You know,
hiring a GM.
Mark my words. If this happens, if I pick my phone up sometime in January and get a notification that Matt Eberflus is anywhere near the candidacy for the next Jets head coach,
God.
you will not hear from me again.
Is Eberflus even going to be a candidate?
He shouldn't. Was Adam Gase supposed to be a candidate? That would have been laughed at, but he ended up being the head coach.
Well, I mean, he had Peyton call.
Right, yeah, Peyton Manning, yeah. He went to the playoffs with Matt Moore.
Right.
1 year.
So,
right.
I mean, you know.
Let's go.
Obviously, he's going to be a candidate when Peyton calls.
We're really going off the rails here because it's hilarious how bad this team is.
Yeah.
What's the plan? Like next year, like do you force Rodgers to leave? Do you, if he wants to not retire?
Let me ask you this:
ask him to stay.
How about rephrase? Let me ask you this: name me 5 players you're legitimately excited about watching next season on this roster currently today. 5. Give me 5.
Garrett Wilson. I have to give you 5. I'll give you 5. I'll give you 5.
No, you don't have to give me 5. If there's not 5, tell me there's no 5.
Okay.
That's the point of this, because I don't think there's really 5.
Garrett Wilson.
Ahmad.
Breece Hall. I still think Breece Hall.
Okay, Breece, agreed.
Breece Hall. Quincy Williams.
Hasn't been as great this year, but okay.
He's still been the best defender, which is crazy.
Okay.
If they can get him back, DJ Reed.
But he's not.
If they can,
he's expiring contract.
Yes,
he doesn't count.
You're really timing. Olu.
Okay. Yes, you're
and
much.
I'm not saying Ahmad. I'm not saying Ahmad Gardner.
I'm not saying Ahmad.
I'm not saying Ahmad Gardner. We got to get to A Club. I can't.
Ahmad is no longer a exciting part of this group, and I would throw Will McDonald in there.
No. I'm jumping the gun. I'm doing my hate club early because I'm not going to reignite this passion later.
Okay.
My hate club is NFL players should not. We need to put it in the Constitution that they should not have access to social media. It is actually ridiculous. Why the hell do I need to open my phone on Monday morning seeing screenshots of Sauce Gardner, quote, retweeting Rich Cimini or whatever Jets reporter and saying, oh, yeah, really? They were criticizing his tackling, saying, oh, yeah, really? My tackle attempt on 2nd and 17 really made that big of a difference in the game? You idiot. Like, that's like, how out of touch can you be? This team yesterday looked like they didn't want to tackle anybody. It was an awful tackling performance, and they're known over the past couple years for being great tacklers. Sauce Gardner grabbed Trey McBride, wrapped him up. Trey McBride brought him on a little piggyback ride, then threw him off, and then decided to hurdle a Jets defender and gain 20 yards. It was an utter embarrassment. Then I got to see Mike Williams, who we talked about before, putting on his Instagram story, him catching a touchdown in Pittsburgh. Congrats, Mike. Real happy for you, bro. Puts 3 hashtags. The last hashtag, #redline.
What does that mean?
Well, if you remember back in week 5 or week 6 against the Buffalo Bills, when Aaron Rodgers threw an interception to end the game, and he said, well, you know, Mike was really supposed to be out there on the red line. That's where the ball was supposed to go. And now I got to see Mike Williams trolling us on Twitter with the hashtag. I just
because I was so confused because like somebody underlined it. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what this means.
Yeah. Is my mic low enough? I've been screaming this episode. I really hope. My apologies to anybody if I've been, hurting your ears.
Great. Good for Mike Williams. Honest to God. Good for
just
Mike.
Just take the social media away, please.
I saw those tweets.
Make them earn it at least.
Gardner, he's really, I've never seen, it's been a really long time since I've seen a player go from the top of the mountain to where he is headed, because it's not a good place. He hasn't had a good year.
He's been awful.
He's a loudmouth. He's active on social media too much. It's not a good combo for him.
And the crazy thing is, Sauce is a really good dude.
Two-time first
So
team All-Pro player.
really good player and a really good dude. I've never heard the guy getting even remotely close to in trouble in anything.
Right.
He doesn't drink. He doesn't he's just a dedicated football player, and he still needs to be annoying on social media.
How about Quincy Williams?
Stop being annoying on social media.
How about Quincy Williams?
Y'all remember this football bleep, just my job. Find y'all someone else to play with before you get found. Okay, so there we go. Now we are threatening people on social media. We are threatening people to go fight them or possibly worse on social media.
It's good. It's good season.
Great.
His
Awesome. Oh, great tweet. Another guy that needs to be banned. Put that in the comments, dude. Dove Kleeman, this moron. What's going on in New York? I don't know, Dove. Have you opened the papers? Have you seen?
Is Rodgers going on McAfee this week?
Oh, yeah. I hope. Yeah, no. He'll have his nice hat on with the, when I was in the darkness, I took the drugs. It really enlightened me. We got to just look forward to the future. Take it week by week. And he'll hit you with some stupid Confucius quote.
That's your guy.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Let's go.
Last thing.
Yeah.
This says, is there anything to look forward to? Is there anything to look forward to for the future with the Jets? My answer is maybe some new jerseys. That's all I got. That's what we do.
Maybe Woody can move him to London.
Yeah. Please.
All right.
Giants.
Giants. Does it get better? I guess it's slightly better because everybody thought they were going to suck this year. But I don't know, JM. Look at this article I just brought up. Ready? Look at the article I'm reading.
2025 NFL Draft. Prospect comps at every position plus notes.
It's November 11th. This should be a thing. Baseball's going to start by the time this thing happens.
Yep. I opened up the Tankathon app today. That's not good.
It's, I think that's where we're at with this team. I think the Giants are, and I honestly would like your opinion here because I don't really know what the right answer is, but should they fire Daboll and Shane? I don't really know. I don't know the answer.
So that's tough.
It's tough. It's a really tough question.
It's one of the few times where I've ever considered maybe you should fire the GM but keep the coach. I really do still think Daboll is a guy that should be a head coach in this league. He knows how to develop guys. I think if you were going to bring somebody in to develop your rookie quarterback that you're hopefully going to draft in this year's draft, I would want it to be him. Maybe a couple other guys, like maybe a Kingsbury or a Ben Johnson or whatever. But we've never seen Ben Johnson develop a young quarterback. Jared Goff was already polished under the McVay system, and he had a bad 1 or 2 years to end his career there. But I think Daboll has the ability to do it. I mean, he was a huge part in Josh Allen's development.
It's a really tight. Listen, I think if he loses the locker room, which it kind of trends towards like he is, because he didn't lose it last season, but I think it seems as though he's losing it this year. If he ever did, I think you got to get rid of him.
But hear me out on this. Well, I don't know if that's fair to him, because who in their right mind is not going to lose the locker room after you've been a terrible football team 2 years in a row?
I know. And
it's not like, they're underachieved. No, they just don't have a good team.
And then I don't know how these guys feel about Jones, because I think they respect the hell out of their teammate. But, man, is he bad. And they have to see this. And they have to see through, hey, what is Daboll going to do? What's he supposed to do?
Right.
I don't, JM, I've never been more indecisive on a decision, and thank God it's not mine in my life. I would lean towards keeping them.
Right.
But I was always on the side of Daboll and keeping him. I'm now on the side of if they fired him, they fired him, and I'm not going to be too upset, and I could see why they did it.
I get it, and honestly, whichever direction they go, I wouldn't have too much of a problem with. If you fire them, do we really think that they're going to be sitting here and saying, "Oh man, what a terrible mistake we made. We let this guy go, and he's one of the best coaches in the league now"? Like, is that possible? Sure, but I think the possibility of just starting a brand new regime and giving your fans that false sense of hope, like our teams do every 3 or 4 years or whatever it is, I would probably rather go.
The one thing I can't say is you can't let these guys die without getting rid of Daniel Jones. You can't let them go without getting rid of Daniel Jones. But then you're opening up, you got to give him at least 2 years with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to sign for that.
Shedeur and Dion, let's go.
Yeah, Shedeur and Dion. I got to start watching Shedeur tape and Cam Ward tape.
Yeah. Well, listen, all I'm saying is, whoever's listening to this show right now, when it's NFL offseason time and you want some draft knowledge, these two guys, we're going to know everything.
We're going to know everything.
Because we're already looking, okay? We're going to be 2 months ahead of everybody else.
It's crazy. It sucks. I'm going to start watching these guys probably this week.
Yeah. We're going to be deep into the 5th round by March.
It's going to be nuts. And we're not going to be talking baseball, so we're really going to be talking about the draft.
No.
But I don't know, JM. It's so depressing. It really is. Even you want them. Not that I'm sitting there wanting them to lose yesterday.
Yeah.
Because, it's so early.
Yeah.
And they lose, and you're like, all right, you have the first pick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing to lose a game like that to that team in Germany.
Yeah.
Tracy's a good player. It's a bad fumble. Tracy looks like a good player, though.
He does.
That's one positive.
Bad fumble and bad drop that really led to the interception there.
Yeah, it was also a really bad throw and a bad decision.
Yeah. Can't blame Nate, though.
He's so bad.
We hit a parlay.
We did.
That was great.
We did.
We're back.
And I was Giants money line away from getting another one. So that sucked too.
That's your problem. You can't bet. I'm done betting with the Jets ever again.
Giants are my 1-star.
I'm sorry to hear about that. Did you hit your other 2?
Yeah, just the 2.
Oh, just the 2. Up.
Yeah.
I took a lead again. I think my 3 and my 1 hit.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 3 and 1.
Broncos.
Listen,
and Bills?
There was a point in time where it looked like you were gonna lose, and you were gonna lose all of them, and I was gonna win all. Oh no, you were gonna win the 1.
The Broncos.
And you were gonna lose the other 2.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna win everything.
Yeah.
Well, my 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It didn't go that way.
No.
Would have been nice for my bank account too. All right, JM. Again, the Giants are less they're just depressing. It's but you look at all the numbers. You mentioned it before. The Giants, Jets, and Jaguars, 3 worst teams in the sport for the last 15 years.
Yep.
It's embarrassing.
Awful.
All right, JM. Let's look ahead a little bit here as we get set for Week 11. A lot of good games. We kind of mentioned them before, but that KC Buffalo game. I mean, that is just
classic. It always is.
It's gonna be fun.
And they're finally in Buffalo. We haven't seen this in a little while.
We had the playoff game.
Yes, regular season wise, I'm talking.
Yes, we have. When's the last time we saw that?
I'm not sure. I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago when it was KC at Buffalo, or was it Buffalo at KC, or was it back-to-back years?
I think it's been back-to-back years.
That was last year? No, it was 2 years ago. The infamous rat line.
What?
That was when I was in Lambeau for Jets Packers when it was Buffalo at KC and they
were
had
minus
Buffalo
2.5. Yes, and I was in Atlantic City.
Yep.
And I hit the Bills big that day. Big.
Yep.
We like that.
That's going to be a great game. I'm really interested to see how these teams look now because Kansas City's so weird. Mahomes hasn't been Mahomes. Kelsey seems like he's coming back now because there's just nobody else to throw to.
Yep.
Worthy, I mean, he's been brutal. Yeah, actually, we thought he was going to be like, oh my god, how did they let?
Thank God they have David
Worthy. When the Bills are actually the team that traded them the pick. It doesn't seem to matter now. But I'm really looking forward to see how Mahomes is going to look here and how Allen's going to play against Kansas City. And we're going to have some really interesting conversations next week, whichever way this game goes. We're either going to be talking up, Bills still can't get over the mountain, and Kansas City and Baltimore are the 2 teams to watch in the AFC here, or we're going to be talking, are the Bills or Ravens ready to dethrone the Chiefs because Chiefs are going to lose this game?
We are going to learn a lot about the AFC this week.
Yes.
A lot.
It's starting to take shape already, but yes. The top of the AFC.
Yes. Jam, I'll leave it with this. I'll go my hate club, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Some teams are too loyal. Some teams don't know when it's the right time, and we didn't get to this today, so it's perfect. But the fact that the Bears, that there's a report before Sunday's game that Eberflus was safe even after this season is truly remarkable.
Where did you see that?
It's truly embarrassing. There was this report out there that Poll said he's good, that they were seriously considering bringing him back, regardless of what happens this season. JM, this team might win 6 games after starting 4-2. They are such a mess, and they are about to ruin one of the best quarterback prospects out of college we've seen, maybe ever. They are incompetent. They can't do anything. They don't run the football well. We talked about this roster being the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever come into, and they've somehow gotten worse on a week-to-week basis. It is an embarrassing organization that continues to make embarrassing decisions, and if they keep Eberflus beyond this season, they should be forced to trade Caleb Williams out of there.
No, honestly. And Caleb Williams, I think if Eberflus sticks around, I mean, how do you not say to your agent, hey,
get me out?
Should we do it? Like, should we force my way out?
And he'll get a lot of hate for that.
He
but
will.
He would be making the right decision.
Yeah, well,
we'll back him. We'll back him.
Guess what? Eli Manning got a lot of hate when he said he didn't want to be a Charger. It ended up working out for him. So, I mean, relax. The word Eli gets mentioned here, and this guy's like,
might have to take a trip to
Canton on the table here.
Wow. Might have to take a trip to Canton this August. Can't wait.
Honestly, I would respect you if you did that.
I think I'm going to actually do it.
Mike, the offensive line is way worse than we thought it was going to be. And we were sitting here saying, oh, offensive line looks great. But no, we thought, middle of pack, we'll be able to get by.
Protect them.
It's been terrible. Tevin Jenkins, Bears fans want his head. I feel bad for the guy. And the receiver room, I mean, we said, wow, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and we knew, okay, maybe Keenan Allen, this point in his career, maybe he's not exactly the receiver he's always been. But he's been like a non-factor. But DJ Moore has done nothing. He was better with Fields.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He had that game against the Commanders last year on Thursday night where he had like 3 touchdowns, 150 yards. We're like, holy crap. He hasn't even come close to that with Caleb Williams. Him and Odunze, I mean, have had a couple games where their connection was really sparking, but this offense it's a tough watch. I mean, it is a brutal watch. I can't believe that there's an offense out there that's a worse watch than the Jets, and it's actually the Bears.
Possible.
It's really, really bad, and it's a shame to Ryan Poles, and it's a shame to Matt Eberflus. The abundance of assets that this team has had over the past couple years with that ridiculous trade they made with the Carolina Panthers. What we thought was the greatest trade of all time. It might end up being a lose-lose for both teams, which is unbelievable. But they're not getting what they should be getting out of DJ Moore right now. They're obviously not getting anything out of Caleb Williams, and they're not getting much out of Rome Odunze either. So the only way to fix this is for Matt Eberflus to be nowhere near the team facility next year.
Wow.
For Ryan Poles, honestly, to be done.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation.
Because you need the GM to hire the coach, and he's already 0 for 1.
Yeah.
So maybe you go out and you bring in a whole new regime and new coordinators, no more Waldron, and you just reset because that's the only chance for Caleb.
It's going to be interesting to see, JM.
I mean, Bryce Young still has a shot. Like, we were writing him off, but he won a game at least, and you're thinking, okay,
they look good in Germany.
Maybe Canales can pull him out of this.
Look good in Germany.
Same thing could be done for Caleb. Justin Herbert right now. I mean, he's been a great quarterback his whole career, but I mean, we didn't know where this Chargers team was going. Now he might be having a whole different career path because of Jim Harbaugh.
Coaching matters, and they need to figure it out.
Yes.
JM, a fun episode here, episode 150. We don't have the cake, so maybe at 200 we'll have a cake.
No cake, yep.
But we will. We got to update the star standings because it's a little closer than some would
Yeah,
think.
it was. Now we're back.
Yeah, it's like, the rearview mirror meme is still there.
Yeah.
It's still relevant.
Don't worry,
So-
you'll lose again this year and not pay up on your punishment.
Yeah, no,
It's
we
okay.
will. We will. I gotta go see. Maybe we'll switch it to a Long Island Nets game.
No. We're going off the bat. The basketball thing is gone now. It's going to be a completely different punishment.
No, I'll do a Long Island Nets game because they're in season, and that's
That's
just
not
as
a
brutal.
punishment. No, it's not.
Long Island Nets is brutal.
We have a friend.
Brutal.
We have a friend, Mr. Katogio, who goes to Long Island Nets games
He's
as
a brutal
hobby.
human being. That's a brutal thing to do.
He's like, punishment?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
He said the same thing about the Liberty. He offered to go with me. Anyway, completely off the rails. We'll talk to you guys next time. Enjoy the Monday Night Football.